What if your misery isn't a personal failure, but a social habit you've been trained to maintain? Hello and welcome back. Take a deep breath. Settle in. If you're driving, if you're walking, if you're just sitting in the dark letting the day wash off you, I want you to be fully here. Because today, we are going to talk about the single most elusive, misunderstood, and commodified concept in the human experience. We are going to talk about joy. But listen, we aren't talking about the joy you see in a commercial for a new car. We aren't talking about the fleeting hit of dopamine you get when someone likes your photo. We are diving into a philosophical ocean today. We are deconstructing the work of the mystic Osho, specifically looking at his treatise titled Joy, the happiness that comes from within. And I have to tell you, the material we are covering today is dangerous. It's dangerous because it challenges the very foundation of how we've built our modern lives. It suggests that almost everything we are doing to find happiness is actually the specific mechanism that is keeping us miserable. So, let's start with the architecture of the human soul. Osho opens this exploration with a concept that I think is absolutely brilliant in its simplicity and devastating in its accuracy. He talks about the Zorba-Buddha. Now, picture two archetypes. On one side, you have Zorba the Greek. Zorba is the ultimate representation of the West. He is vitality. He is flesh and blood. He dances, he drinks, he sings, he loves technology, he loves the material world. He is alive in the physical sense. He is the scientist, the lover, the adventurer. But Zorba has a flaw. He has no soul. He has no silence. He is all noise and motion. On the other side, you have the Buddha. The Buddha is the peak of the East. He is pure consciousness. He is silence, stillness, transcendence. He has eyes closed, looking inward. But Osho argues that the Buddha also has a flaw. He has rejected the world. He has rejected the body. He is impoverished on the outside to be rich on the inside. For centuries, humanity has been schizophrenic. We've been told we have to choose. You can be a materialist, or you can be spiritual. You can be a scientist, or you can be a mystic. You can enjoy a glass of wine and a beautiful meal, or you can sit in a cave and meditate. And Osho says, no. This split is the wound of humanity. The goal of our evolution, the new man, is the synthesis. The Zorba-Buddha. To be able to dance wildly on the beach like Zorba, and yet, in the very center of that dance, maintain the absolute stillness of the Buddha. Why does this matter to you right now? Because most of us are exhausted trying to be one or the other. We are either drowning in consumerism, trying to buy happiness, or we are cynically rejecting the world, trying to find peace by checking out. True joy, according to this philosophy, is returning to oneself. It is having the capacity to enjoy the world without being enslaved by it. And this brings us to the first major paradox we need to confront: the abnormality of happiness. There is a story Osho tells, and it's funny, but it's also tragic, about a man who goes to a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist asks, "What's the problem?" And the man says, "There is no problem. I'm just incredibly happy. I'm ecstatic. I feel too good." And the psychiatrist immediately starts looking for a pathology. He thinks the man is manic or delusional. Think about what that implies about our society. If you are miserable, if you are anxious, if you are stressed, you are considered normal. You fit in. You are a productive member of the economy. But if you are dancing in the street for no reason, if you are smiling without a cause, we think you're crazy. We think you're suspicious. Osho references Sigmund Freud here, the father of modern psychology. After 40 years of studying the human mind, Freud came to a heartbreaking conclusion. He said that happiness is essentially a fiction. He said that the best humanity can hope for is not bliss, but merely a state of lesser discomfort. That is the ceiling of Western psychology, turning hysterical misery into ordinary unhappiness. Osho rejects this completely. He argues that misery is not our nature, it is our choice. But it is a choice we have forgotten we are making. Let's go deeper into this mechanism of choice, because this is where it gets intellectual. Humans are unique. We are the only beings in existence capable of misery. Have you ever seen a miserable tree? Have you ever seen a bird that is depressed about its career trajectory? No. A bird sings. A tree grows. They are happy, but here is the catch: they are happy unconsciously. They have no choice. A rose bush cannot choose to be a pine tree. It simply is. But you? You have consciousness. You have freedom. And freedom is a double-edged sword. Freedom means you have the ability to go against your own nature. You can choose to be something you are not. And that gap, the distance between who you are authentically and who you are pretending to be, that is the definition of misery. Osho uses a powerful metaphor here regarding meditation. We often think of meditation as a spiritual practice, something holy. He says, no. Meditation is medicinal. It is medicine. If you are healthy, you don't need medicine. If you are happy, truly happy, you don't need to meditate. You are the meditation. We only need these techniques because we have become sick with inauthenticity. We have lost the natural harmony that a tree has by default. So, why do we choose misery? Why would anyone choose to be unhappy? It comes down to social masks and the betrayal of the self. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a child who is born with the soul of a dancer. Their body wants to move, their spirit understands rhythm. But they are born into a family of accountants, or doctors, or strict academics. Society says, dancing is not a career. You need to be serious. You need to work in a bank. So, this person suppresses the dancer. They put on the mask of the banker. They become successful. They have the money, the house, the respect. But deep down, there is a screaming silence. They are miserable. They go to a guru and say, teach me how to meditate so I can be happy. And Osho says, you don't need meditation. You need to quit the bank. You need to dance. If you use meditation just to tolerate a life that hates you, you are misusing it. You are using it as a tranquilizer. Authenticity is the prerequisite for joy. You cannot be happy fulfilling someone else's destiny. There's a folklore story Osho uses to illustrate this entrapment. An old man is fishing. He falls into the river. He's struggling, drowning. A young boy runs over and pulls him out. And the boy asks a profound question. He looks at the fishing line wrapped around the man and asks, sir, were you fishing for the fish? Or was the fish fishing for you? Let that question sit with you. Look at your life. Look at your job, your mortgage, your social status, your ambitions. Are you holding them? Or do they have a hook in your mouth, dragging you into the deep water? We sacrifice our inner wealth, our peace, our nature, for outer wealth. We let the objects of our desire become our masters. This leads us into a discussion about focus and education. We are trained from birth to lose our natural joy. Think of a classroom. A teacher is droning on about algebra. Outside the window, a bird is singing. The child looks out the window, mesmerized by the bird. The child is in a state of total, natural absorption. That is meditation. That is joy. But the teacher snaps. Pay attention! Look at the board! The teacher forces the child to disconnect from the natural interest, the bird, and force a connection to the unnatural interest, the math. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't learn math. But the mechanism is clear. We are trained to split our attention. We are trained to ignore what our soul loves in favor of what society deems useful. By the time we are adults, we are fragmented. We are constantly forcing ourselves to do things we hate, and we wonder why we can't focus. We wonder why we have ADHD. We wonder why we are miserable. We have forgotten how to just watch the bird. Now let's pivot. We've established that we are living inauthentically. But Osho takes this further by categorizing the human experience into a hierarchy. This is crucial because we often confuse fun with joy. They are not the same. Osho breaks down human consciousness into 3 types of people. First, you have the deluded. These are people who are asleep. They live for shallow vibrations. They think happiness is getting drunk on Friday night. They think happiness is a loud movie, a roller coaster, a distraction. They are trying to escape themselves. Second, you have the sleepwalkers. This is most of us. We are like people in the morning who hear the alarm clock, we hear the tea kettle whistling, but we weave it into our dream. We are half awake. We are functioning, but we aren't fully present. We are living in a haze of routine. And third, you have the awakened. The awakened person doesn't seek relief from tension. They seek fullness. When they listen to music, the music resonates inside them long after the song is over. They carry an echo of beauty. From these levels of consciousness, we get a hierarchy of well-being. And this is a taxonomy you need to memorize. There are 4 levels: pleasure, happiness, joy, and bliss. Level 1 is pleasure. This is physiological. It is animalistic. It's food, it's sex, it's drugs, it's a warm bath. There is nothing wrong with pleasure, but Osho warns us, it is a trap if you stop there. Why? Because pleasure is dependent on the external. If your happiness depends on a person, that person is your master. If your happiness depends on a substance, you are a slave to that substance. Pleasure also suffers from the law of diminishing returns. The first bite of cake is heaven. The 20th bite is nausea. The mind gets bored. It constantly craves newness. And this creates a life of running after new lovers, new cars, new thrills, but never arriving. Level 2 is happiness. This is psychological. It's deeper than pleasure, but it's still tied to circumstances. I'm happy because I got the promotion. I'm happy because my team won. It's fragile. If the circumstances change, the happiness evaporates. Level 3 is joy. Now we are getting somewhere. Joy is spiritual. It doesn't need a reason. You aren't happy because of something, you are just joyful. It's a state of being. It bubbles up from within. And the final level is bliss, or ananda. This is the state of the Buddha. This is where the ego disappears completely. You aren't just joyful, you are the joy. You are one with the universe. It is eternal. It cannot be taken away because it doesn't depend on anything outside of you. But look at our world. Look at our economy. It is entirely built on level 1, pleasure. And because pleasure is scarce, because there is only so much money, so much power, we enter what Osho calls the Machiavellian world. We view life as a competition. If I want the pleasure of that job, I have to beat you. If I want the pleasure of that status, I have to step on you. We treat people not as human beings, but as means to an end. A husband uses a wife for sex. A wife uses a husband for security. This, Osho argues, is the ultimate immorality. It desouls the world. It turns life into a battlefield where we are constantly anxious, constantly defending, constantly attacking. We become cunning, but we lose our wisdom. There is a beautiful, famous story about the Sufi mystic Rabia that perfectly illustrates the absurdity of our search for happiness. One evening, the sun is setting, and people see Rabia on her hands and knees in the street, searching for something. The neighbors come out and ask, "Rabia, what did you lose?" "We'll help you look," she says. "I lost my needle." So they all get down on their knees, searching the dust. After a while, someone asks, "Rabia, the street is big and the needle is small. Can you tell us exactly where you dropped it?" And Rabia points to her house and says, "Oh, I dropped it inside the house." The neighbors stop. They get angry. They say, "Are you mad? If you dropped it inside, why are we looking for it out here on the street?" And Rabia looks at them and says, Because there is no light inside my house. But there is a street lamp out here. So I am looking where the light is. We laugh at the story, but that is us. We have lost our joy inside. We have lost our peace inside. But we don't want to go inside because it's dark in there. It's scary. We might see our true selves. So instead, we go out into the light of the world, the shopping malls, the nightclubs, the social media feeds, and we look for our needle, there. And we never find it, because it was never there to begin with. So, how do we stop searching and start finding? This brings us to the third and final chunk of our journey today, the paradox of pursuit. Here is the hard truth: you cannot pursue happiness. The moment you say, I am going to try to be happy, you have failed. Why? Because the pursuit implies that you don't have it. The pursuit creates tension. And happiness is a state of relaxation. You cannot try to relax. If you grit your teeth and scream, I will relax, you are only creating more tension. Osho argues that happiness is a shadow. If you walk toward the sun, your shadow follows you. If you run after your shadow, you will never catch it. You have to focus on the act of living, on being authentic, on being present, and happiness will follow you like a shadow. It is a byproduct, not a goal. Furthermore, we have to understand that in this dimension of reality, everything comes in pairs. You cannot have the coin of happiness without the other side of the coin, which is unhappiness. They are inextricably linked. If you cling desperately to happiness, if you are terrified of losing it, you are already in misery. True bliss transcends this duality. It accepts the summer and the winter. It accepts the day and the night. It doesn't cling. This is why ambition is the enemy of joy. We teach our children to be ambitious. Be number one. Be the best. But Osho warns that the ambitious person is the most miserable person on earth. Because to be ambitious means you are living in the future. You are living for a goal that hasn't happened yet. You are sacrificing today for a tomorrow that might never come. There is a historical anecdote that Osho loves to tell, contrasting Alexander the Great and Diogenes the Cynic. Alexander the Great conquered the world. He had everything: power, wealth, fame. Diogenes was a beggar. He lived in a tub. He owned nothing, not even a cup. One day, Alexander meets Diogenes. He sees this naked man sunbathing, looking utterly blissful, laughing at the sky. Alexander is stunned. He says, I am Alexander the Great. Ask for anything, and I will give it to you. Diogenes laughs and says, just move a little to the left. You are blocking my sunlight. Alexander is so moved by this man's total freedom that he says, if I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes. And Diogenes replies, if you want to be Diogenes, you can be Diogenes right now. Who is stopping you? Throw away your armor. Lay down in the sun. Why conquer the world first? You are miserable now so that you can be happy later. But later never comes. Alexander died young, miserable, trying to conquer more. Diogenes died laughing. Who was the true conqueror? This brings us to the ultimate call to action. And it's not an easy one. It requires courage. Osho says that to find joy, you have to be daring. You have to be willing to kill your old self. You have to be willing to drop the mask of the banker, the lawyer, the good person that society created, and reclaim the innocent nature you had as a child. There's a metaphor Osho uses about a soldier. This soldier wears boots that are 2 sizes too small. He is in agony all day. He limps. He suffers. His friend asks, why don't you get new boots? And the soldier says, you don't understand. I've lost my family. I've lost my home. I'm in a war. The only pleasure I have left in this life is the moment at night when I take these boots off. The relief is the only happiness I know. How many of us are wearing tight boots? How many of us are holding on to our misery, our complaints, our victimhood, because it gives us a sense of identity. We are afraid that if we let go of our suffering, we will be nothing. We are afraid of the vast, open space of freedom. But the message of this book, *joy, the happiness that comes from within *, is that you must take off the boots. You must stop looking for the needle in the street. You must stop waiting for Godot. You must stop hoping that the next raise, the next partner, or the next vacation will fix you. You have to return to yourself. You have to synthesize the Zorba and the Buddha. Live in the world, enjoy the world, use technology, eat the food, dance the dance, but keep your center still. Keep your awareness turned inward. Happiness is not a destination you arrive at. It is the manner of your traveling. It is the music that plays when you stop trying to compose it. So, as we wrap up this massive deep dive, I want you to look at your life today. Not your life 5 years from now. Today. Are you fishing, or are you being fished? Are you looking for the light outside, or are you brave enough to go into the dark house of your own soul and find the light there? The choice, as Osho reminds us, is yours. And that is both the burden and the glory of being human. Thank you for listening. Go out there, take off the tight boots, and walk in your own truth. I'll see you next time.